Hello, how's everybody doing? What's good, y'all? Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I know it is kind of late. I don't know what time it is where y'all are located. But as y'all know, I'm located here in Savannah. It is midnight here. I've never done a late chat this late, but you know what? I felt like doing it. I said, okay, what the hell? What's good, everybody? It is your girl, your diva and knowledge, Lady Mocha, here representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. I know it's been a minute since I actually went live. Since y'all have actually seen me out of eye without my avatar for once. I want to give a big ups to all of my subscribers who have been rocking out with your girl. Y'all have made my channel so phenomenal. I've been getting a lot of subscribers. Joining my channel within the last couple of weeks, and I know I did not do this alone. I want to give a big ups to all of you who have been supporting me, rocking with me from day one. Those of you who just subscribed, I thank you for subscribing to my channel. And if this is your first time here tonight, I also want to thank you. I welcome you for stopping by to take a chance here at Mocha's Cafe de Paris. This is going to be one of the few non-biased channels here on YouTube. I ride for my girls and I ride for the dudes as well. So that's what makes my channel different from most channels. Most channels you go on, you're gonna always have a female that's either all for the women and not for the guys. You know, you have channels where it's always black women dragging black men, or if it's not black women dragging black men, it's the black men that are dragging black women. And here at my channel, I just don't operate like that. I feel like all of us could actually grow from one another. We all can actually learn something from one another. I really don't feel like no gender has something to offer that another gender doesn't have to offer. I just feel like we live in a world where everybody is just so biased. You got to either be all for the man or you got to be all for the woman. Where really, we all have issues. We all can grow and learn from one another, and that's what makes my channel different. My channel is very non-biased. I'm going to ride the ladies and I'm going to ride the guys. That's how I operate here at Mocha's Cafe de Paris. But I don't want to digress too long. I thought it was imperative that I did this particular video tonight for the simple fact that, oh hell, dropped my phone. Okay, yeah, drop my phone. Yes, if y'all did not hear, this has actually gone viral. This just occurred. Let me pull this up while I'm talking to y'all. Just in case you're not aware of it. Okay, for all of y'all who have not been keeping up with your local news, basically, we have an issue here where a mother's boyfriend of 2 years beats 5-year-old girl to death, seriously injuring also the sibling sister. A man from Jennings beat his girlfriend's daughter Wednesday, killing a 5-year-old girl and seriously injuring her 4-year-old sister. Adrian Mobley, 28, was charged Thursday with first-degree murder, first-degree assault, and 2 counts of abuse or neglect of a child. Mobley is being held in the St. Louis County Justice Center with bail set at $1 million. Court documents say that Mobley repeatedly struck Ayana Milton, this 5-year-old, in the head, chest, and abdominal dominant on Wednesday, causing serious physical injuries. The girl suffered brain injury and severe internal injuries. She died at the hospital. He also hit Ayana's sister in the head, chest, and abdomen. Charges say she suffered severe internal injuries as a result of the beating. Police say Mobley admitted repeatedly striking both children. They say the abuse happened at the family home. Phyllis Hines said the girls are her granddaughters, and they had an older brother were home alone when mobbed at the time of the beatings while their mother was at work. Basically, unfortunately, these both of her daughters were in this man's care at the time she was going to work. The mother's name is Paris Jones. Miss Jones was 25. She stated she had been with this man for 2 years and he had never been violent toward the three children until Wednesday. I just can't believe that this young man took my grandbaby's life, Hines said. He's got 4 kids of his own. Now that I did not know. Um, Let me see. The younger girl who Hines identified as Breonna Milton remain in intensive care. So basically, he killed the 5-year-old. She ended up dying. She's dead. And the other one he injured, and she just came out of a coma. She has a leak-rated liver, bruises up and down her back. She's responding and asking for her mother. As I can basically say, the situation is really sad. I've talked about this numerous occasions, and it never seems to amazes me that we still don't have enough women taking it seriously. They're not getting it. They're not understanding that you have to be careful who you allow around your children. It's more women, and especially more single women, that do this more than anything. It's unfortunate because she knew this guy for 2 years. And as she indicated, he showed no signs that he was violent. He showed no signs that he was an abusive at all. What a lot of women are not understanding is that I learned in my criminal justice class that most kids are children, they suffer the most amount of murders and deaths at the hands of their stepfathers. Most children who experience any type of sexual abuse or physical abuse, the majority of the time is somebody that is non-related. Usually children who experience abuses from somebody that's not a family member, it's always the woman's boyfriend, the woman's fiance. That is the chance that you take, unfortunately, when you allow a man into your home. Um, okay, no problem. Appreciate it, Metamorphics. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's unfortunate that this lady had trusted this man for 2 years, and she's claimed she saw no signs, and I find that very disturbing that um she's clearly indicated she saw no signs that he's uh would definitely was a threat to her children. She didn't see any signs. And the crazy part is sometimes you really can't tell. You have some predators out there, predators and abusers. They are very, very good at camouflaging. Most predators, most abusers, most molesters, they're kind of like chameleons. They can pretty much blend into whatever environment they're in. You can't always tell. Some of them are really good at covering up themselves and making themselves not look like they're that type of person. So he probably really had her convinced for 2 years. I'm sure, has she seen any type of signs that this man would be a threat to her and her children? She probably, I'm hoping for the most part she wouldn't have trusted leaving her children with him. And based on what I have seen, there's been some women who really don't care who they leave their children with, but with her, I didn't pick up this kind of vibe. I can tell she was really distraught. She did not sense at all. She'd been with him for 2 years, and just out the blue, he lost it and went ham. Ladies, definitely take this as a lesson. You have to be very careful who you leave your children around, especially when these children, especially the people you have keeping your children, these men, because most of the cases that happen in which children are injured is always by the mother's boyfriend. It's always by their stepdad. We hear stories about this all the time. So you have to be very careful. And you also have to pay attention to the signs. You have to pay attention to the little things, ladies, when it comes to these men being around your children. It's little things. Does he have an attitude always when your children are around? Does he always seem angry? Does he always seem hostile? Does he seem to be short-tempered when your children come around? Does he have an attitude? Does he seem kind of distant, like he's not really into connecting with your children. All of these are signs as women you have to pay attention to. When he's around your children, does he interact? Does he talk to them, or does he just kind of goes off into another room when they come around? You have to pay attention to these type of signs, y'all, because again, women are becoming more and more desperate by the day. Just because you and the guy connect, y'all hit it off and had a few conversations, had a few drinks or two, that does not mean that this is the ideal guy to have your children around. Believe it or not, I know some cases in which some men don't even like children, don't even care to be around children, but just so they can have a place to stay, just so they can get in the graces of a woman, just so they can get in the good graces of a woman. They will actually play it off and act like they like your children. Some of them will go so far as to buying your kids candy. They'll play with them and act like they really like your children. And if you don't check these men background, you don't check their history, you don't find out their background, their upbringing, you don't know if you're bringing a man into your home that can be a great danger to your children. And it's unfortunate that there are just so many women who don't care what type of man they allow around their kids. They're so glad to have a man within their presence. They're so glad to have a man around. They don't give it a second thought. They don't check the man's history. They don't check where the man come from. And in many cases, they don't even check the man's criminal record. They won't check his record, and make it so bad. We have all this access to the internet, y'all. We have all of this access where we can find out anything on anybody that we want. We can find out anything. And these women, as much as we like to be nosy, and as much as we like to dig into things, and we want to get all type of information on people, we like to do all this investigating. I mean, you want to investigate all kind of stuff, but we never look into these men. Y'all do not check these men background. Y'all don't check their history. Y'all don't figure out, y'all don't take the time to really get to know these dudes and really check out their history. You have to check out these men's history. Some of these men don't even like children, and you got them in your house around your children. And then some of these men have criminal records where they have a history of hurting children. They have a history of harming children. And even with all of that, you women will, not all women do this. If it does not apply, you don't have to reply. But as a woman, you have to really be careful who you allow around your children. You have to pay attention to the little stuff, like I said. Not only are some of these men are abusive, some of them have a record of being sexual predators. You have a lot of child molesters out there. And let me tell you something, child molesters are very cunning with children. They are very cunning. They know how to make kids feel comfortable around them. They know how to play with them. They know how to joke with them. They know how to talk to them. You have to be careful with stuff like that. You have to look at little things. When he's around your children, do your children act different? You have to pay attention to your child's behavior. Is your daughter acting different? Is your son acting different? Does your child show any type of fear when this man is in their presence? You have to pay attention to stuff like that, ladies. A lot of the times, we like want to overlook things because you have some women that get so hell bent. They want a relationship so bad. They want a man in their life so bad that they are willing to take a chance and move this man in their home around their children. I've seen women I've seen women who've only known the guy for a couple of weeks and to move him in her house. I could never understand that. You would think now, after hearing all of these stories about these children getting hurt and these children being harmed, that these women would be more careful, that they would pretty much, use more discretion. And it's sad that it took another 5-year-old. This woman lost her child. And my thing is baffling to me. She had to see some kind of signs. I just can't see her not seeing anything. She had to see something. There's just no way. Maybe in the back of her mind, she just overlooked it, or either he really played a good role. You have some guys that will do that. They really know how to play the role. They know how to talk cunning. They know how to make your children feel comfortable. They know how to make you feel comfortable. You have to pay attention to stuff like that, ladies. You don't pay attention to stuff like that, I guarantee you, it will come back to haunt you. It'll come back to haunt you when you least expect it. And that's what happened in this woman's case. Um, what's up, Matt V? How you doing? Thank you for tuning on in tonight. Yeah, I'm talking about this 5-year-old who got murdered by her mother's boyfriend of 2 years. She's been with this dude 2 years, and out the blue, he decides to hurt this woman's child. And she stated that she didn't see any signs. She did not see any signs of him hurting her child. And I just think that's kind of strange that, she just did not see no signs at all. But like I said, then again, you have some predators. You have most child abusers, most child molesters. Most of them are very cunning. A lot of them are very cunning. A lot of them are very smooth. They know how to get in good with kids. You meet these type of people. They are professional con artists. They are professional con artists. They know how to make these children feel comfortable with them. And this is the thing about being a single mom. Single mothers are more prone. They end up becoming prey to these type of men all the time, because you have women that are so badly want to build a family for their children, especially when they did not make the best decisions in choosing the type of man they chose as a father for their child. And when these men disappoint them, women try to make up for that and figure, if I get in another relationship and I meet me a good man, maybe he can be like a father to my son, a father to my daughter. A lot of times women, they try to replace they try to get a man to fill in the void of their child not having a father, of their son, their daughter not having a father. And it's a lot of it. A lot of single mothers tend to feel a lot of guilt. A lot of them feel a lot of guilt. They feel guilty that the man they chose, or the father of their children, they feel guilty that that man does not play a role in that child's life. So what happens is, the first dude that comes along and smiles and grins and plays friendly and act like he likes her kids and acts like he likes her, she will fall prey to that. You single women have to be very, very careful of wanting so badly to give your to get a man to fill a void of giving your child a father, and you're feeling guilty that the father of your child is not having any dealings with your child, or whatever the case may be. The first man that comes along and give you attention, you automatically allow him into your home. You allow him into your home. You allow this man to feel comfortable around your children, and you really don't know much from Adam. Now, in this case, I sympathize with her because she's been with him for 2 years. What makes her situation a little different? She had a relationship with him. So it wasn't like she just met him like a week or two ago and he did this. This man been around her children for 2 years, and she just had no signs. She had no indication that this man would hurt her child. And he did. And not only that, he also hurt the other child. She had two children. Let me see if I can get the other kids' ages. He's got and make it so bad. This is the other thing. He has 4 kids of his own. Now, isn't that ironic? How you have the audacity to hurt somebody else's child, and you got 4 children of your own? That just amazes me. That baffles me. Let me see. The child that died is 5. Okay, and the sister was injured. The sister was okay. All right. So the 5-year-old, he killed the 5-year-old. The 5-year-old is deceased, and he injured the 4-year-old. So what would possess a full-grown man to injure 2 children? I cannot understand that for the life of me. You have some sickles out there, ladies. You have some sickles. Just because a man is acting friendly with your children, that does not mean he's not liable to hurt them. If you don't know this man from Adam, you ain't been around him a long time, you don't know this history. Now, my thing is, she might have been with this man for 2 years, but I wonder if she really knew his history. I wonder if he had any history of any type of violence, if he showed any type of signs of violence. That's my concern. I'm wondering about his past. Not much has came out about his past as of yet. I know he's on a $1 million bail, which most likely. For everybody who's just tuning in, I'm discussing the mother's boyfriend beat her 5-year-old daughter to death, and he also injured her 4-year-old. She knew this guy for 2 years, and this is what he did. Um, Let me see. He injured both children. I'm trying to see if he has anything in his past pertaining to him having this type of behavior. Let me see. At the time of the beatings, Mobley was supposed to be taking the children to school. So this man had all full access to her children. He called my daughter at work and told her that her daughter wasn't breathing. Okay, this was the mother. So the guy who killed this child, he had the audacity to call her mother and tell her that she wasn't breathing, like as if he didn't know why. He knew the reason this child wasn't breathing was because he hurt this child. Now, why he's sitting up here acting like he don't know what happened? It's just really sad, y'all, that it went down like that. Again, ladies, be very careful who you allow around your children. It's too many. The statistics are too high with these children getting injured by these boyfriends, by these fiancés. Y'all don't be knowing these men like you think you do. You have to pay attention to these men. Watch their behavior. Pick up on certain things about them before you trust leaving your children in their care. This woman is very distraught. Like I said, she did not see any signs of it, and I see too many women making that mistake. You don't need to be moving no man in your house with your children unless you know for a fact that this man is definitely trustworthy. You have to see to it that this man is trustworthy of your children. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, y'all, because I know it's getting kind of late. I just wanted to share this story with y'all. It's very sad. It grieves my spirit. Ladies, we have to use more discretion. We have to be more mindful of who we allow to keep our children. If you can, leave me a comment. What do you ladies think about the situation, about women that are being too vulnerable and being too gullible, allowing all type of men to keep their children? What is your opinion as far as this story? She said she didn't see any signs of 2 years that this man was a threat to her children, that her children would be in danger. Do y'all believe that, or do you think she's just selling wolf tickets? About not consider taking men seriously on danger all the time. I agree with that, Met V. That's a big problem that a lot of women have. Single mothers, like I said, single mothers are the most vulnerable, because a lot of it has to do with a lot of women. They will try to replace that father out of guilt. A lot of women feel guilty when they can't provide their children with a father, especially if she has a child from a man that's not active in the child's life at all. He doesn't really interact. He doesn't really have any dealings with the children. What happens is women tend to feel guilty about that. They feel guilty because as a woman, you know, if you really care about your child, you love your child, you want your child to have the best of both worlds. You want your child to have a mother and a father. You want that. If you're a real woman and you care anything about your children. But what happens is women allow desperation to make them lose their common sense. Women allow desperation to make them lose their common sense. And I believe that is what happened, Met V. She I don't know the relationship with her children's biological father, but I know right now he's very distraught. I know right now, you know, her family, and you know the father of this child's family, I know they're devastated. But like I said, we hear stories about this all the time, you know. And women, like I said, women have to pay attention to the little signs. If a man is around your children, and sometimes you do have to allow a man to be around your children, that's the only way you're going to get a good idea of that man's real character. So sometimes you do have to allow your children to be exposed to the man that you're in a relationship with, because you need to see how he interacts with your children. But you have to pay attention to stuff like, does he hold your child in an inappropriate way? Does he sit your daughter on his child on his lap I mean, you got to pay attention to stuff like that. A lot of women, they don't pick up on stuff like that. Does he always want to be alone with your children? Or does he act distant? Does he act funny when your children are around? Does he easily get annoyed with your children? I guarantee you, Matt B, I believe she's seen some signs. I can't see for 2 years that this man out the blue just decided to kill her daughter and injure the other one. I guarantee you she's seen something. Brother, if he, you know, had his days when he had an attitude, and in the back of her mind, she probably did it like, okay, he's just having one of those days. He's just being himself. I'm sure he showed signs, but I have a feeling what happened was she figured because she had been with him for 2 years, she really felt like she could trust this guy. She really felt like he could, yeah. And you know what, maybe that is exactly what happened to DL Hughley. I remember when DL Hughley told that story, everybody was shocked because him and his wife had been together for years. He had a baby on his wife. And come to find out, the wife was willing to still, stand by him and support him. But at the time, the mother of his child, her boyfriend killed his son. And I think his son was like, I don't even think his son was 1 year old yet. I think he was only like a couple of months. Talking about a blow, that's a major blow. That is. And then some women, they could see the signs, and I can't say this is the case with her. They could see the signs and they don't see nothing wrong with it. But see, another thing is too, some women, they allow all kind of men to discipline their children. I don't think as a woman, unless y'all been together for a really long time, probably 5 years or more, you have to be careful with how you allow men to discipline your children. You have to. I had a girlfriend, God bless her soul, but her boyfriend, her husband, was pretty harsh towards her children. He was really harsh. He would yell at them a lot. He was very territorial. He was very distant with her children at times. He acted like he didn't have any patience with them. Ladies, when you see signs like that, when you have a man around your children and you see he's not patient with your children, because let's face it, children could be very annoying. What's up, Huggy Poncho? No, you know what? I apologize if I'm talking crazy tonight, y'all. Maybe it's the wine. Pacino. What's up, Huggy? Thank you for stopping on in. I appreciate it. Yeah, these one, you have to pay attention to stuff like that. A man is sitting there acting impatient, and the same thing with you guys. If you got children and you got a woman in your life who's, acting like she don't like kids, she's not patient with your child, you got to be careful with stuff like that. You got to be careful because let's face it, children are a handful. And if you're with somebody who doesn't have patience with children or who does not like children, they will hurt your child. They really will. You have to be very careful. LOL. Pacino. Oh, Pacino. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna just call you Huggy because this Manischewitz that I'm sipping on is gonna make me butcher your name. So I'm just gonna call you Huggy. But thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Yeah, you have to. I'm so tired of the sisters out there being gullible, man. Y'all have to stop being gullible with these dudes, and I don't understand for the life of me. Y'all leave these. I don't get it. I would never feel comfortable leaving my daughters with another grown man. I don't care if I've been with him for 2 years. I don't know. Every woman is different. I just would feel funny about that. What's up, T193? It's good to see you. Haven't seen you in a minute, but I know I haven't been live in a minute. But I appreciate you for coming in. Thank you. Yeah, and another thing, guys, whenever your baby mama, if you do have a relationship with her as far as y'all are co-parenting with the child, please meet her new boo. Please meet her new man. Because as a man, it's things you'll be able to pick up on. And if you find out your baby mama got a new man, please meet this man. Let this man see your face so he can see that these children do have a father that's involved in their life. So maybe that's not to say that it will eliminate a man from hurting your children, but the chances are a little bit less when the man knows that that child has an active father in their life, you know. And if that's so, make sure you meet these men, you know, who's going to be around your children. And same thing for the women out there. You got to meet these women that's going to be around your kids. You know, you have to, you know, because everybody don't have good intentions. But as far as that is a good way to judge a man, you have all the things you mentioned on red flag. Yeah, it just is. You have to pay attention to stuff like that. You have to pay attention to, do your kids act different when he's around? Do they act? Do they act a little bit more quiet? If they're usually more, if your kids are usually outgoing and like to talk, all of a sudden every time this man comes around, they don't like to talk. They want to go in their room. They're not as verbal. You got to pay attention to stuff like that. But some of these women be so glad to have a man in their face, they will overlook all the red signs. Just because a man act like he likes your kids, that don't mean he really likes your kids. Well, who's going to walk up to you and say, I'm a molester? Who's going to walk up to you and say, I'm a child abuser? What molester or abuser is going to say that? They're not going to tell you stuff like that. And if you think about it, most of them are the kinds that present themselves as nice. Very rarely are they going to tell you, I'm a sex offender. I rape children. I molest children. And let me tell y'all, ladies, y'all cannot go by looks. Just because a man looks good, that does not mean he don't have sex offender tendencies. Some molesters look good. Some sex offenders look good. What's up, pretty black? I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping on in. Thank you so much. Yeah, molesters look good. Molesters look good. I hate to say that. Here in Chatham County, where I live at, I have what's called a registered sex offender list. Every state has one in their county. As much as women like to get on social media to take Instagram pics and to take post Facebook pics, what these women need to be doing is they need to check their local sex offender registered list in their area. You need to check that once a month, because molesters are spreading like cancer. Every day there's a new one being made. There's a new, you got to know how many child predators are out there? It's everywhere. You need to check your list. I check the list here in Chatham County. I at least check the sex offender registered list. I check it at least every 2 to 3 months. I'll check it. I really should check it more than that. But that's when I check it. Y'all will be amazed at how many women I done ran into with a registered sex offender. I promise you. I definitely, this is, I tell anybody who's coming in here, this is definitely a non-biased channel. This is not a feminist channel. This is not one of those channels when I'm going to always go in on the brothers and talk bad about the brothers. I don't operate here. I just give good topics about things and that goes on in real life, everyday situations. I actually try to talk about topics that people can learn from, they can get something from. So yes, I definitely keep my channel drama free to the best of my ability. Now, I can't help who brings drama to me, but I try to keep the drama to a minimum. I try to make anybody who comes here, I'm gonna make you feel at home. I'm gonna make you feel welcomed. I'm not gonna bash any of the men who come on my channel, all women. You know what I mean? So I just don't operate like that over here. Yeah, I just as I stated, these women don't even check to see if these men are registered sex offenders. I've been in a nail shop one time, and there is no kidding you. I've been in a nail shop one time, and I seen a guy paying for this woman's nails to get done. And he was a registered sex offender. He was a registered sex offender. Because like I tell women, you cannot go by looks just because a guy looks good. I went on a list. I seen a lot of nice looking guys, and the majority of them was registered sex offenders. I'm like, dude, you look good, but you like children. You like young girls. I mean, it's a sickness. You have some people out here, they just have a psychological sickness. It's a lot of mental illnesses out here. You know, people don't have to look mentally ill for them to be mentally ill. You have a lot of bipolars, narcissists, you know, you have a lot of people that are mental, you know, and you don't believe it. You need to check their medicine cabinet. Check these folks' medicine cabinets. You got some mentally challenged, disturbed people out here. And usually by the time you find out how crazy they are too late. You have to investigate and do your research before you let people into your life and you let people in your home and you allow these people around your children. Um, Women with children have to look at every man that's innocent. I tell she gets no. Absolutely. I agree with that, Meth V. To me, as a single mother, any man you meet, he needs to be guilty until proven innocent. That's the best way I can put it. He needs to be guilty until proven innocent. First of all, another sign a lot of women got to pay attention to. If a man wants to move in with you and your children and he's only known you for a couple of years, that's already a bad sign. No grown man should want to move in your house with you and your children, especially if y'all are not married and y'all have not been together for at least 3 years or more. Why would a grown man who only known you for a couple of weeks, why would you trust moving a man in your house like that? Why would you feel comfortable with a man moving in your house like that? Let me see. 96. I'm trying to catch y'all comments as quick as I can. If I miss your comment, I'm not ignoring you. It's just coming pretty fast. I always need someone my age or older than me. Okay, I feel you, Huggy. I feel you. Believe it or not, that we have a lot of that in the South. It's a lot of men who would prefer dating older women because a lot of men feel like women their age are just too toxic. They're too drama filled. I totally get where you're coming from, and it's sad, but it's a lot of young women. They're just way too toxic. I mean, I get it. It's a lot of guys that are dating older women. You just you know, dependent, and some older women, not all, some of them can be toxic too, but for the most part, they're still not as toxic as the women within our age range. These young women now between the ages of 24 through 36, you definitely have to be careful because a lot of them are very toxic. So I definitely understand. I understand where you're coming from on that. I know a lot of guys that are dating with older women, and trust and believe. I understand. Let's see. I'm like shit about you. I have to search like that. Definitely check it. Yeah. I'm telling you, a pretty black. It's a lot of dick hydrated. I call them dick hydrated. Dick hydrated. It's a lot of dehydrated females out here. As soon as a man gives them a little bit of attention, all he has to do is show a little bit of interest. I've seen it before. I used to do security at one of my old jobs, and I remember this one dude. He just started working. I was worked at this job, was like a nursing home, so we had a lot of CNAs and a lot of RNs, you know, on the plant where I worked. And I'll never forget this guy. He just started working there. I know because I remember when we get new employees, we would give them barcodes and put it on their vehicles. He just started working there. He started dating this DNA. I mean, I'm saying DNA. Oh goodness, I know that man is shit wet since hitting me. He started dating this CNA on a job, okay? And he ain't even been there a good month, you know, and already she had this dude driving her car to work. And not only that, she had him move in. She only knew him for a month. I'm like, you, and she got 5 kids. And it's always like the females with the most kids who are quick to move a man in. They have 5 kids or more. They will move a man in their house in a heartbeat. I'm like, y'all really just be doing the most. Yeah, DNA, dick and attention. Yep, I say that all the time, Huggy. I say that all the time. Matt V, mental illness, especially by most of them. Yeah, very true statement, Matt V. Mental illness is not diagnosed within the Black community. It really isn't, because the majority of the individuals in the Black community, a lot of them cannot afford to get professional help. A lot of them cannot afford to go to a doctor for a doctor to diagnose them and say, look, you have a mental illness, you show some signs of schizophrenic. A lot of individuals in the Black community, they can't afford to see a psychiatrist or a therapist to make them aware of any of the mental issues or psychological issues they have. So I totally agree that the Black community has a lot of undiagnosed mental illnesses. You know, it's people that's walking around here and looking good. Let me tell y'all something. It ain't just the crazy people that are mental. You got some good looking people that are mental. So guys, don't get fooled because a woman looks good. She got big tits and a big ass that she's not mentally ill. She can have all of that and be mentally ill. She just doesn't have to look crazy. Same thing to my ladies out there. Just because you meet a man that's 6'7", wears gator shoes, I mean, $500 Armani suits. Guess what? Underneath that $500 Armani suit and them $300 gator shoes, he could be mentally ill. You have a lot of mental illnesses in the Black community. I'm telling you. And then a lot of thing is too is what happens is the older generation, like the grandmothers and the great-grandmothers, great-grandfathers, they know about mental illnesses that travels through the family, but they don't forewarn the next generations, that the upcoming generation. See, Black families, we have learned to sweep stuff up under the rug. We don't like to talk about things like that. How many Black families do you actually know will sit up here and talk about issues within the family, especially if those issues involve mental illnesses? It's not too many Black folks that are going to discuss these type of issues. Well, black people, the Black community is not going to discuss mental illness in the family. It's not happening. You know, so while you're walking around here as a child, you may have seen a lot of dysfunction within your household. You may have seen a lot of dysfunction within your community, but being that in the Black community we shy away from these type of issues, you learn to just be programmed to the dysfunction, you know. But yes, yeah, Matt V, you said a handful, because that's the truth. We have a lot of mental illnesses that are going undiagnosed. Um, yeah. Cornell, what's up, Cornell? Thank you for coming on in. Is there a solution to toxic mentality in the community? I think it's kind of far gone at this point now, Cornell, because it's too many factors. But a lot of it, to me, a lot of toxic mentalities to me have emerged from the fact that once Black families started dividing, once Black families lost family structure, that is, to me, that's, in my opinion, I believe that is when we started having all the problems in the Black community we started having. Once the dynamics of family had changed over the years, meaning that we ended up having more single parent households than two parent households. Men are no longer leading the households. We have more single mothers that are leading the households without the men. You know, once we lost the dynamics of having a man and a woman running the households, that's pretty much, I believe, when we started having all these toxic issues emerging within the Black families in the Black community. Because the bottom line is, y'all, we lost that balance. We lost that balance. We lost that balance of family structure. It's too many single parent households. You know, we have too many. The toxicness started coming, ladies and gentlemen, and I may lose my brownie points for this. Now, keep in mind, if it does not apply, you don't have to reply. I'm not saying because you are a single mother that you have a household full of toxicness and troubles. Okay, some single mothers, but that's not many. It may be maybe 2 single parent households out of 500 where these children come up not being dysfunctional. But the majority of these children in single parent households, they become dysfunctional. And the reason for that is because the woman cannot wear both hats. A woman cannot be a man and she cannot be a woman. She cannot be a mother and she cannot be a father, especially if she has sons. Now, if she has a daughter, and she don't have any sons, the chances of her um of making that daughter toxic is slim compared to her, causing her son and her daughter to be toxic, because again, the household has lost that balance of having a man and a woman leading the household. um so as far as that question, Cornell, I really don't think there's a solution at this point, because once the dynamics of family change, that pretty much killed everything there. So that's just my opinion. Um, let's see, be independent and show woman you can be on your own. You both decide to live together. You see these cards that will bring you both on. Yeah, I agree with that, Huggy. Yes, I agree that man and women, y'all both have to get to know each other and see if y'all are mentally and emotionally compatible. That way you both are bringing or developing a stable environment. But what's starting to happen is I'm starting to notice a lot of toxic people are connecting with other toxic ass people, or either unstable people are connecting with other unstable people. And this is why we have so much dysfunction within the Black community. You got crazy people hooking up with other crazy people, and they produce another crazy little people, and it just continues to keep going. um I'm just catching up on y'all comments. Let's see. Anyway. Yeah, it could be. I think they'd be ashamed to admit they have mental illnesses. I think that may be part of a pretty Black, but I think, like Cornell says, I think I have a lot of them do it. They're not even aware. Because remember, the majority of Black families, whatever issues have going on in our household, what was it that grandma and granddad always taught us? What is one golden rule that Black families teach their Black children? What is one golden rule? You know what that golden rule is? We've been taught that what goes on in this house stays in this house. By the show of hands, how many of you have heard that what goes on in this house stays in this house? How many of us have heard that? Because the Black community has been taught whatever issues we have in the household, we are supposed to conceal it. We're supposed to pretend that it didn't exist. We're supposed to overlook it. A lot of these issues is not just occurring within these white households, it's occurring in the Black households. But Black families have been taught that what goes on in your house, it stays in your house. And that's why a lot of Black families have so much dysfunction, because even if there was something wrong in the household, like we're talking about mental illnesses, let's say if daddy had a mental illness, let's say if that was the case, all right, I'm just using a scenario. Guess what? Nobody's not going to address that. Because even if your dad did have a mental illness, you were taught that what goes on in the house stays in the house. You're not going to expose that and tell anyone that. So you know what? That becomes a secret within the Black house, which in turn becomes a secret within the Black community. And guess what? It is never addressed. And what happens is, because it is never addressed, it just continues to keep going. Because Black people, we like to sweep stuff up under the rug. We don't want to talk about this is what's going on in the family. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about how much daddy drinks. We don't want to talk about mom is narcissist, has bipolar tendencies, because Black people, we were taught we're not crazy. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is, pretty Black. I'm telling you, Black folks, a lot of issues in the Black community come from the fact we've been taught to sweep stuff up under the rug. We've been taught we don't talk about that. Well, this our business. This our business. What goes on in our house, we ain't gonna talk about it. I don't care if it is bad. We're not going to discuss it with anybody outside of this household. In order for us to change the problem, y'all, don't we have to admit we have a problem? Isn't that how it goes? You got to admit there's an issue for you to fix it. A lot of us, a lot of Black families got issues, but nobody won't admit to the issue anyway in order for it to be corrected. Cornell says not only that, there's a stigma that that being Black means you have to automatically be strong by default. You know what? That is an absolute true statement. That's a true statement. That's a true statement. With black people, we are taught that we have to succumb whatever struggles we endure. We're just supposed to endure it, go through it, and find a way to manage it. But we're not taught to resolve it. We're not taught to cure it. We're not taught to cure it. Black as blacks, we are taught that whatever you go through, you're supposed to stand up in it. You're not supposed to feel defeated. You find a way to deal with it and you push forward. So having mental or having unresolved issue is seen as a weakness. Absolutely. Cornell, you said a mouthful. Well, again, because in the black families, we're taught you don't discuss stuff like that. We don't talk about Uncle Earl being a molester. We don't talk about stuff like that. We don't talk about, you know, daddy drinking daddy drinking like a sailor. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about our mother's bipolarism. We don't, black people, we're not supposed to discuss that type of stuff because it is seen as weakness. It is. But what happens is, y'all, because you don't deal with it, it's an old saying, you cannot heal what you don't reveal. If you're not revealing the issues that are taking place, if we don't talk about the dysfunction within these black families, and there's dysfunction on so many levels, there's different types of dysfunctions, ladies and gentlemen. You have dysfunctions as far as all type of sexual abuse. It's a lot of households within the black community that have experienced sexual abuse in some form or another, whether if that was the father, whether if that was the uncle. Black folks don't like to talk about stuff like that. We don't want to talk about molestation. That's not just a white person problem in the suburbs. Let's be for real. Molestation is not just something that happens in the white households. That's not something that just happens in these Catholic schools, in these churches. That's not a white person problem. We have that problem here in our own community. It's black households that are dealing with sexual abuse. There's black households that are dealing with alcoholism. There's black households that are dealing with poverty issues with poverty. It's so many types of dysfunctions, y'all, that has an effect within the black households, which eventually spreads like cancer because it starts to rub off within the black community. It becomes like a plague. You get what I'm saying? That's why it's not good to sweep things up under the rug and act like we don't exist, act like we don't have them kind of problems. If we don't deal with these issues, it goes from generation to generation. If we keep learning, it becomes a generational curse. That's the word. It becomes a generational curse. A lot of y'all are repeating the same footsteps that your fathers made, your mother's made. A lot of y'all are repeating the same footsteps. Y'all are falling into the same shoes that your parents, your grandparents have already fell into before you. You know why? Because the issue was not nipped in the bud. If you look into your life right now, you might find a lot of similarities. You might find yourself doing a lot of things that your mother did. You might find a lot of things you might be doing things that you see your father did. Like 9 times out of 10 is common sense. If your grandfather done been to prison, your father done been to prison, you done been to prison, 9 times out of 10, if you got a son, he's going to end up in prison too. It becomes a cycle. It becomes a generational curse and it becomes a cycle. If we don't learn how to nip that in the bud, if we don't learn how to tackle these generational curses before they become cemented within the black household, within the black community, it's going to continue to spread like cancer from generation to generation. It spills over into the school, so there'll be one kid with issues and we'll push the kid along to the next teacher. Yeah, that's very true too. It spreads. I'm telling you, Matt B, it's toxic. It starts from the household and it spreads into the community. Like you said, it spreads to the school, it spreads to the neighborhood, and in some cases, it spreads in the churches. It will continue. It becomes contagious. It becomes contagious. In all fairness, it's hard for teachers to manage these type of problems while still maintaining the classroom, not taking away from other kids. Yeah, it's not. And believe it or not, it's not. Teachers are not, they're not going to deal with these issues, but for the simple fact that the classrooms are already overcrowded and these teachers are not getting paid enough to deal with this type of hostility. What happens is children who have those type of issues, the system ends up eventually getting rid of them. That's what happens. The system just does away with them. These children end up falling by the wayside. That's usually what happens. They become like throwaways to society. They become like society's rejects because, it's just too much work to try to deal with other people's problems. And again, these are problems that need to be addressed within the households. This is not something that the teachers should have to deal with, that outsiders should have to deal with. As parents, if you know you got troubled children, it is up to you as a father and a mother to see to it that your children receive some type of spiritual or psychological help, or both. Because you cannot expect the world to save your children. As parents, that is our job. And the thing about it is when these children get out of hand, or they end up getting in all type of troubles with the law and everything, we want to look for somebody to blame other than ourselves, and this is issues that the teachers are outnumbered. Do y'all realize how many dysfunctional kids are going into these classrooms? Do y'all realize these teachers are overworked or overstressed? I couldn't be a teacher. I'm gonna let y'all know now. I wouldn't even want to deal with other people's problems. I don't have the patience to deal with other people's children. It's too much. Especially when you have these hood rat mothers and some of these deadbeat fathers who are not interacting with these children. What can you do when these kids don't even listen to their own parents? And this is what makes me upset me about a lot of Black parents. They can't even do nothing with their own children, but then they want to get mad when the teachers are calling them and saying your child, and your child has disciplinary issues. How are you going to get upset when the teacher calling you about your own troubled child? You know your child got issues. You know your child don't even listen to you. I can't stand parents like that. I cannot stand parents that want to sit up there and act like their children is not bad as hell. You know you got badass kids. You know that. A lot of these parents, they don't want to even have nothing to do with their own children. They don't want. I knew a particular woman now. Her son was so off the chain. He was 14 years old. She kicked him out when he was 15. She couldn't even deal with him. I'm like, what mother? How do you get rid of your own child at 15 years old? You created that monster. It done got bad, y'all, where these parents are getting rid of their juvenile delinquent ass kids. They do not want to be bothered with their children. They don't want them. They create these monsters, but then they don't want to deal with these monsters that they create. They throw these monsters out here to society for us to have to deal with. Now, that same young man is getting ready to face life in prison because he done killed somebody's child. And that young man, he been troubled. He been troubled since he was 4 or 5 years old. But his mom used to sit up there and buy him the nicest Jordans, the nicest clothes. You bought him all that stuff, but you didn't teach him no morals. You didn't teach him any values. And this young man is 15 years old and getting ready to serve a lifetime prison sentence for murdering somebody's child. This young man been troubled. A lot of y'all see the signs that your children are troubled. What has happened is a lot of Black parents within the Black community have gotten lazy with parenting. A lot of parents in the Black community then got lazy because, for one, when you have so many children, how can you give your children all the attentiveness that they really need? When you have 5, 6, 7 little ones, unless you are a very, very, very mature and hands-on mother, father, you will get overwhelmed. A lot of Black parents within the communities, they're getting overwhelmed because, for one, a lot of them got too many goddamn kids. A lot of them have too many children. Carnell says people want to teach professional babysitter psychology and it's hard to be at one kid. Of course, yeah. Of course, that's what I'm saying. But and that boils down to Cornell is that you know, parents in the black community, they have gotten pathetic with parenting. That a lot of these everybody who has kids, that don't mean they're parents. Just because you have a child, that don't mean you're your mother. That don't mean you're a father. Hell, even roaches breed children. Roaches breed babies. That don't make them parents. Everything starts at home. It just does. We cannot look at society to teach our children right from wrong. That is our job. If you don't teach your children right from wrong, you end up paying a price, because what happens is, as a parent, um, you're the one that has to deal with the fact that you failed your child. That'll be your burden to have to live with. You know, that'll be your lifetime sentence. For all you parents out there who are not raising your children, guess what? You are going to you basically you have put yourself in a position to where you're going to be raising that child for the rest of your life. That child will be 50, 60 years old and still living off of you. You still taking care of them. If you know anybody who knows a 30, 40, 50 year old who's still living with mom and still living with daddy, all that comes from is the fact that their parents been babying them all their life, never made them responsible for anything. And what happens is, once they become grown, they still don't know how to be a man, or to be a grown man, or to be a grown woman, because all their life they have been enabled. Everybody knows that one grown man or that one grown woman who cannot get her stuff together because her parents have enabled her, him or her. And it's unfortunate, but we have a lot of that going on in the black community too. uh is it too many family members said abuse and don't say anything to the parent? My grandma said that the abuse that my mom did, but no one called her on it. Yeah, like I stated, now it has to do with black families. We are taught that what goes on in the house stays in the house. We're not supposed to talk about abuse. We're not supposed to talk about molestation. That's a white person problem. We're not supposed to talk about stuff like that. We're not supposed to talk about when daddy used to beat up on mama, or when daddy, daddy was messing with Miss Pearl and Miss Baker down the street. Well, a lot of children in the black households have witnessed all type of dysfunction. And what has happened is, again, as you stated earlier, Cornell, we've been taught that we're supposed to be strong. You're not supposed to. The moment we admit that we have a problem, we're admitting weaknesses. We're admitting that we're weak. We're admitting that something wrong with us. And the bottom line is, God, you cannot cure what you're not willing to admit to. You can't cure it. For instance, you got people that may be walking around here knowing they got full-blown AIDS. Okay, you know you got AIDS, but you have learned to program yourself to make yourself believe you don't have AIDS. Well, AIDS is a little too strong. I'm gonna say cancer. I just like that analogy better. Like, for instance, you can have somebody around here who knows they have been diagnosed with cancer, but they have learned to lie to themselves and say, I don't have cancer. Nothing's wrong with me. And what happens is they don't continue to get treatment for cancer because they have learned to convince themselves they don't have it. So what happens is the cancer takes over the body to the point to where they end up dying from it just based on their own denials. Denial can kill you. When you sit up here, you want to act like there's the issues that has happened in your childhood. We have a lot of grown adults that are still dysfunctional and cannot really function as adults because they have issues that has happened in their childhood that they have learned to just conceal and repress and not discuss it. I'm telling you, we got grown women walking around here, guys. You might run into black women with attitudes and all of these issues and everything. I'm telling you, you looking at some of these women family tree, you will find out that some of these black women come from very dysfunctional households. Some of these black women have been molested, have experienced sexual abuse. A lot of these women have been tampered with at young ages, and when they become full grown women, they become very promiscuous. They basically end up get um resorting to unhealthy behavior based on tragic events that have occurred within their childhood. It's grown women that around here, you'll be surprised they're acting out, and you wonder why they're acting so whorish, why they're so promiscuous, why they're acting like floozies when you've been touched and tampered with as a child. It does something to you mentally. When you had to learn at a young age how to be sexually involved versus as a child learning how to play with dolls, learning how to play with a dollhouse, you're learning how to play with a grown man's penis as a little girl. How straight, how normal you think she's going to be when she becomes a full grown woman? And I know this is very strong content, but we're all adults in here. We have to talk about this kind of stuff. We're not going to sweep it up under the rug and act like it don't happen, because it happens. You have a lot of full grown women that are walking around here and not admitting they had to do things at a young age that they should have not been forced to do. We don't want to talk about stuff like that because that doesn't happen in the Black households. Oh, we're putting too much in the God handle. Can the church do more? I believe church is an additional. I believe church can help, but at the same time, people have to be willing to put in the work. It's the saying, faith without works is dead. We can run to the church all we want. We can run to the pastor. We got the pastor to lay hands on us. We got the pastor to touch us and pray for us. But until we really have the will or the determination to really be free and delivered from things that have happened to us as children, we're going to continue. Those issues are going to continue to keep manifesting. It's just going to continue to keep getting more and more out of hand until we learn to deal with it. The church is there to assist you and to uplift you and to encourage you, but at the same token, all the work that's on us. That is basically on us to do. That's something we're responsible for. Faith without works is dead. You know what I mean? So yes, that's what the church is there. That's what the church is there for. And the other question was, are we putting too much into God's handle? I don't think there's never too much. I don't think we could ever give God too much to handle. I just think that what happens is a lot of people rely on God to do everything, and it's not to say that he's not powerful enough to do it all, because that's what makes God God. We can't limit God. God can do everything. That's the purpose he serves. But at the same token, we also have to live the word. See, everybody wants to be delivered and everybody wants to be healed, but nobody is willing to do the extra work it takes. Nobody's willing to put in the extra effort. You can sit up here and pray all day for God to deliver you from your pain, for God to deliver you from things in your past. You can pray, and that's wonderful, and that's a good thing. Prayer is a start, but at the same time, you got to put some action in your prayer. And the problem is, we want to keep. A lot of people will use will use God as a band-aid. Basically, you have a lot of people that will use religion or will use God as a band-aid to cover up all their hurts. But until they really get to that point to where they put some type of action in with their prayer. For instance, I could pray for God to deliver me from things that has happened to me as a child, but if I am not putting in the work, meaning by I'm willing to go to church as much as possible. I'm willing to participate, going to therapy. If it's a saying, if you do steps 1 and 2, God will do 3 and 4. You have to put something you got to make some type of effort, basically. You have to do some type of effort. You know, a lot of people sometimes they want to use God as an scapegoat. Well, I'ma just pray on it. I'ma just pray on it and hope for it to work out. No, you have to put in work. You have to put in some type of effort because God needs to know that you mean business. You know, basically, He has to know that you're for real, that you sincerely want His help. Because some people don't want help, y'all. Let's face it. Some people just want attention. Everybody does not want to be helped. Some people just want attention. Some people just want sympathy. And some people like to be the victim. Some people love to be the victim of their circumstances because being the victim gives you attention. It gives you empathy. It gives you sympathy. Some people don't want to be delivered. They just want sympathy. They want somebody that's going to feel sorry for them to the point they're going to keep doing for them. Because some people, once they get in that mode of being a victim and they see all I got to do is be the victim and cry wolf, people will help me. People will look out for me. Some people have learned to pull that victim card out the deck all the time, and really they do not want to be delivered. They just want attention. They just want somebody to feel sorry for them. They don't want to change. They really don't want to get help. They really don't want to get delivered. They just want somebody to feel sorry for them. You got some people that like that. Exactly. Matt V, you said a mouthful. You just answered my question. Matt V just said Jesus has enough on his plate, and I believe he'll only help you as much as you're willing to be helped. Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't sit up here and say, Lord, I pray for you to help me. I need to stop drinking, Lord. I'm gonna pray to God for the Lord to help me not drink no more. But then I'm still going to the liquor store. Every chance I get, I'm going to the bar. That's how is God going to help me, you know, be cured from this disease of alcoholism when I keep entertaining it? I'll keep entertaining it. I mean, come on. That's just something, we have to be cautious of. We have to make the initiative. And that's with anything. Even from a non-spiritual point, if you don't have a connection with God, because I get it, that everybody has their own way of doing things. If you choose not to deal with it spiritually, that's how I deal with my problems. But you have some people, they would rather go to counselor, they'd rather go to a therapist. Let me tell you something. You go to a professional counselor, you go to a therapist, you can do all of that. But if you're not willing to put in the work, that therapist tells you, okay, I'm willing to help you with your alcoholism, but the first approach is you're going to have to stop hanging out in bars. You're going to have to stop going places where alcohol is available. What good is how effective is the help? And you're still not following anything that the therapist tells you. Because guess what? That therapist can't be with you 24/7 and see to it that you're not sneaking to the bars and see to it that you're not sneaking to the liquor store. That therapist cannot be with you every step of the way. And even though in the spiritual aspect, that's what prayer is for. You pray to seek deliverance. But in the same token is you have to put in the effort to stray away from those things that you know that you really need help with. But you have some people, they just want shortcuts. They want to take shortcuts in life. They just want somebody to just open the door and make things easy for them. But they are not willing to put in any type of work. They're not really to do any. I mean, think about it. You may have somebody in your family. Everybody has that one family member that's always calling them when they down and out. Everybody got that one brother, that one sister who's staying the bind. Every week they broke. Every week, I don't have no money. I don't have this. I don't have that. You have every time you turn around, there's a family member you might know who may have some type of issue. You may have some family member who has some type of issue. And that same family member, every time they get in a bind, they always calling somebody in the family to help them out. And they're not willing to do nothing no different than they've been doing it. Everybody got that one brother, that one sister who stay in mess, always in jail, or always, losing a job. Everybody know that one person who can't get it together, who still think people are supposed to help them whenever they get in the bind, whenever they get in a situation. Sometimes we create our own monsters. We create our own demons. We have to stop enabling people. People really won't help. They're going to do whatever it takes to get help. But like I said, some people don't want help. Some people want attention. Some people want somebody to feel sorry for them. Some people, they just want money. People call you and tell you, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. Not because they want a real solution, because they want you to offer something. Oh, okay, if you really down and out, I'll send you some money. I'll do this, I'll do that. Some people, they just want sympathy. They don't want to be delivered. Anytime you make people comfortable, anytime you allow people to get comfortable with you, enabling them, you create a monster. And even if you have children, you have that one son, you have that one daughter. I have a family member now who has a 33-year-old son that's still living with them, and this joker will not get out and get a job. And she's miserable. She hates coming home in her own house. She don't even want to be in her own house. She got a 33-year-old son that's not going to work. Is not going to pay any bills. I'm like, how you have a 33-year-old man and you have a lot of parents who got grown children who live in a household and they can't get rid of them. They won't work. That didn't just start somewhere. You enabled this person. They didn't decide to get sorry all of a sudden. Somewhere you went wrong. Somewhere you allowed them to fail themselves. And a lot of times as parents, some parents will allow their children to get away with all type of stuff out of guilt, especially, like I said, single mothers. You have like a lot of single mothers out there, who allow their children to get away with all type of stuff because they feel like they failed them by not having a father there. So it's all type of reasons. There's all type of things, that we have to be cautious of. But I thought it was imperative that I definitely did this content with y'all. I know the original purpose of me doing this video was because there was an issue with the 5-year-old that was killed by the mother's boyfriend, which is the original reason why I did the content. But that's why it's very important, ladies and gentlemen, that we use discretion, we use wisdom, we use knowledge. Anything you're not sure of, there's nothing wrong with seeking the higher power, seeking spiritual guidance, asking for wisdom, and discretion. And also, if not that, it's nothing wrong with reaching out to people who really will sincerely be there for you, encourage you, not use whatever problems you share with them, not use it against you, not gossip to other people about it, not try to drag your name through the mud. We have to use discretion with who we share certain things with. And again, like I stated, I know we ended up talking about other things, but my heart definitely goes out to the woman who lost her 5-year-old daughter at her boyfriend's hands. Unfortunately, that's going to haunt her for the rest of her life. I don't think she's never going to really get any peace with that. And as women, I tell you, ladies, please be very mindful of the men who you allow to move into your households. Same thing with you men out there. Be very careful. Make sure you study these guys that your baby mama got around your children. Study these men, examine them, do some research yourself. If she's so stigmatized that she doesn't want to do research, that's where you have to come in. Because if something happens, you're definitely going to hate yourself in the long run and wish you would have did your research, wish you would have took the time out and got involved and got a lot more information pertaining to this particular person that's going to be around your son and daughter. But on that note, everybody, it has definitely been real. I want to give a big ups to everybody who decided to dine in. This is Met V. I thank you for coming in. Huggy, I appreciate you as well. Thank you for subscribing. Cornell, I appreciate you coming through also. I know you emailed me. I have not forgotten. I'm on the case. So trust and believe I'm going to look out for you on that. T193U, one of my loyal subscribers. You one of my day ones. You rock with me from the beginning. I thank you. I appreciate you, Pretty Black, for stopping in and dining out with me. Thank you. I appreciate your support. Let me see who else I missed. I think I got everybody so far. Yeah, it looks like I got everybody. Okay. Yeah. So it's definitely been real, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for all the support. You have a wonderful, blessed weekend. This is your girl, Lady Mocha. I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth and break you off with a slice of knowledge. It's been real. It's been wonderful. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell because here I'm going to always serve you the best topics and recipes and wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. So y'all have a wonderful weekend. Take care. I'm out.